going on, guys, and welcome to Narcissu. Welcome back to Narcissu, I should say. And last time we left off, we were basically going through places on the car. We ran out of gas again, and we had to. We were basically gonna get gas and just steal. Oh shoot! Apparently, Skype call ended that I was in. And and then all of a sudden, Satsumi, the girl that we were with, pulled out so much money that we didn't even knew she had, and so our character must have. We predicted that basically she had this money because she was preparing for something like this to happen. But we still don't know where to go yet. We still have no destination, and I'm guessing because this chapter is called Number One Route, we're actually gonna find out and start going to where we actually want to go, which I believe is Awaji Island, because we haven't talked about any other place yet. That was a mouthful, and with that, let's get started on Chapter 5. The Number One Route continuing on forever. Places unknown, and I loved cars because they could take me anywhere. But no matter how much useless trivia I gained, it was all in my imagination, relentlessly chipping away at reality and at my heart. I had a swimsuit, I had maps, but I had no future. There was a world outside my window, but it was nothing that I could touch. If I closed my eyes, I could go to a world without anything in it, but it wasn't as if the real world would disappear for me. I knew all of this. My lifelong companion scars were telling me to get used to this world of closed eyes. And yet, I was still filled with what-ifs and dreams of wild possibilities, but eventually, the yearning never progressed past yearning. The bikini swimsuit, the emerald sea, my huge scars told me that I should give up on them already. I spent most of my life in the hospital, amidst this world of closed eyes. It was so sad to only be able to choose between 7F and home. No other options given. However, it was sadder still that I couldn't think of any other places anyway. But I've lived on for 22 years like this. So basically, I believe in the last episode they did something like this as well. This is basically background story of Satsumi, because we're not 22 yet. When I murmured those words, I felt time, which should have been standing still, begin to move again. That day, my heart, which should have been standing still, was in torment. January 26th. Number One Route. Okay. The silver coupe, whose hood reflected the clear blue skies of winter. Wandering around aimlessly as ever, but at least no more worries about gas or food. Soon enough, we came across a large intersection. I hadn't obtained her approval last night, but I was still heading west regardless. The only problems were that I didn't know the roads at all, and it would be tough on our budget to take the tollways. Those were my thoughts as we drew near the large intersection. I was about to continue heading straight without a single thought when... Huh? So she's telling us where to go. An abrupt request. Even as I wondered what was up, I turned left as she had requested onto a very wide road. What was that about? Oh, okay. For now, I was surprised by her sudden direction giving. We'd been together up until now, and she seemed to know just about everything. But this was the first time that she'd voluntarily given me directions. Could it be that you've decided what you want to go after all? Well, you know, to the place we talked about, Awaji Island. Oh, so we are going there. No, that's not what I meant at all. We were driving along without any purpose. I was floundering in search of some destination and always enigmatic. She was ever looking into the distance. So the words that just come out of her mouth took me completely by surprise. What? Oh, okay. Just what do you think you're saying? The silver coupe... Ooh. Change in music. The silver coupe shimmered with sunlight underneath that clear winter sky. We'd passed through the steep slopes and sharp curves of Hakone, and now we're in much more relatively flat area. And, speaking of areas and stuff in Japan, because this is where the game takes place, I actually checked if Awaji Island was real, and it actually is. So I'm guessing these are, like, this is based on, like, actual areas. We were driving through the normal highways because we were on too limited a budget to use the tollways. I could never have done this alone, but thanks to her we were making good progress. Her instructions, more accurate than any navigation system. Excuse me. I didn't know why I felt this way, but I could tell that we were on the right track. Oh shoot, I interrupted her. Got it? I turned the steering wheel and changed lanes as I had been told to. The scenery streaming past the window, the sights and sounds of a city that I had never seen before, spreading to the north. And around the time when the wide open spaces around us had transitioned into urban neighborhoods. Hey, want to stop by there? Some family restaurant at the roadside of the highway. I pointed to it as I drove and kept talking. After all, all we've had is convenience store food all the way up until now, right? Of course, it wasn't as if I had been subsisting on convenience store food because we liked it. There was the fact that we had no money, and there also was the fact that we were on edge. But now that we had a little money to spare, that's what I suggested. After all, a family restaurant can be a nice change of pace, eh? She looked down a little as she said this, as if she were staring at her clothes or something. Oh, fair enough. Speaking of which, those clothes were way too big on her. Alright, then next up, how about stopping by that place? Look over on your side, that jeans shop over there. And there stood a jeans and casual wholesale chain store that I'd seen other locations on the normal highways. That kind of store isn't likely to be expensive either. We're stopping in, alright? I'm stopping tomorrow. No reply, but no resistance either. It might well have been that it would be better for me to think of her non-replies as answers to the affirmative, or something. We went into the store. She peered curiously around the two huge floors of the place, looking into every single corner there was. She was as without words as she had always been, and she may not have looked much different from her usual. But this was a little different from the way she was when she was watching that boring TV that reflected nothing. She examined item after item of clothing and seemed to be considering the prices. And then, whenever she tried a new outfit, she'd come running up to me and... What do I think? I think that looks pretty good on you. Isn't it weird? Oh. No, I don't think so. And in this fashion, she tried outfit after outfit, coming to show it off to me every single time. It's kind of like romantic music. She did not once smile or let any facial expression out, but it seemed to me that she was somehow happy about this. Alright, have you decided? Saying this, she showed me her final outfit, a pretty shirt and a short skirt. What she selected did make her look like a middle or high school student, but she seemed to be pleased enough. Now, if memory serves, she told me in the past that she was older than me. But no matter how I looked, that didn't seem true. Such the opposite in fact, that I couldn't help but smile. But you know, maybe it would be better if that skirt were a bit longer. Oh, no. I'm not saying it doesn't look good on you at all. See, it's cold, you know, and that kind of outfit. When she spoke these words, I saw a little bit of pink rise to her pale face for a girl who always kept herself absolutely motionless. Could it be that she was blushing? The first expression of emotion that I had ever seen from her. Back on the road again. The somewhat noisy silver coupe speeding along underneath the high heavens of winter. Got it. She was acting as the navigator as usual. In no time at all, we had entered Gifu Prefecture. But if this were as usual, she'd only been looking out the window at nothing. But now, she was checking herself in the side view mirror over and over, as if well pleased. Checking herself in that mirror as if she didn't want me to catch her doing it. Well, it looks like you're pretty happy with those clothes, that's all. With that, she stopped looking at the side view mirror. But after a little while, she started checking herself again as I watched. So there were awfully cute things about her as well. And even if something was something as small as this, as normal as normal could be, I found it very cute. Around when the sun had darkened into night, some roadside somewhere, around when we finished our dinner. I wonder what's happened since we left. The white vinyl ID bracelet hanging loosely around my wrist. I murmured those words as I looked at the inscriptions, my blood type and name, and then the name of the hospital. Do you think they're in an uproar? Yeah. Parents, friends, and the doctors. And even if it were only a paper-thin display on their part, I was still a little sorry to think that they might be worried. My bad, Father, everyone. I did something selfish without consulting anyone. Huh? What is it? This is like the first time we've never responded. I was instantly shocked by her sudden question, and then I was silent as I pondered upon it some. Come to think of it, I don't think I cried. Dang it, I clicked by accident. I don't remember doing that either. At first, I couldn't believe that it was actually happening, as if it weren't part of reality at all. But maybe, just maybe, I did feel something, a little. One of my buddies from the Technical Institute bought a new car, and he was complaining out he had to take out huge loans. Some got their first jobs, others were still in school. Some had children, others got dumped by their girlfriends. But I had no future. So in truth, I think I did wonder why I had to be me. Even if I told myself that this was fate, I think I did feel as if I couldn't accept that. Then how about you? Yeah, did you cry or curse fate? And why? Is that so? No way to despair if you've given up from the beginning. Not fun to turn your back that way, but not difficult either. But I couldn't help but feeling that it was just too sorrowful that way. Or could it have been that in her case, there was no other possible course of action? Huh? Wolves? She abruptly changed the topic on me. Why was that? Why 3 years for wolves and 9 years for donkeys? She murmured these words as if she looked out the window impassively. So was this the thing that she told herself? To resign herself, to abandon herself to the fate? So basically she's saying this because she feels that she's useless. The midwinter sky at sunset, our progress straight through the Route 21. The flickering white specks dancing in the twilight sky. It was starting to snow, and snow hard. Yeah, it's snowing. And sure enough, it looked like there was snow covering the roadsides. I had no idea when we'd entered a region of heavy snow, but as far as the eye could see, everything was draped in white. This was something concerning. As far as I could tell, these tires were of the studless variety. If we ran into any snow heavier than this, it was likely that we were going to be in trouble. Hey, does it snow here a lot? See, if it snows much more than this, it'll be tough. There wasn't any snow on the road right now, but it would be no surprise to encounter frozen road segments from here on out. And given that, it could very well become necessary to equip tire chains, something that they hadn't gone over in training. So do you know? Well, yeah, you told me that earlier, but I wanted to know as if it snows a lot here. She answered somehow desolate, and it made me feel that there was something incongruous here. For someone who knew the roads this well, who knew just about everything about this car, something like that should have been child's play. Very well, I'll drive carefully. A beach. We had gotten off the car and were looking at a lake. A chilly wind kicked up, scattering a powder snow across the lake's frozen surface. And in the midst, she slowly began walking toward that beach, as if it were the ocean itself. This was a spectacle I had seen before. Are you asking me whether I think you'd die without much pain if you walked in? I have no idea what your basis for that is. Quite a deductive ability you have there. Under the cold north wind and the falling snow, we argued jokingly, seriously, who knew, about our one endpoint. And after a while, she began walking toward the lake once more. You don't have any intention to die today, do you now? How much further is it until this Awaji island of which we'd spoken? It wasn't as if I particularly wanted to go there, but I didn't have any problem with going there either. But though we wandered without a purpose up until now, the seeds of a final destination were being born in us. The girl who had halted her progress towards the waters even without my having to stop her. Most likely, that was the way it was for her too. Got it. From 8 back to 1. Under the guidance of our navigation, we were now heading toward Kusatsu. Yeah, we still have 30,000 yen or so. After we'd hit that clothing store, we had only spent money on convenience store food. Why, what's up? The tollway? Why can't we get through the normal highways?
確かにギリギリまでならいけるけどでも最終的には
But for the final stretch, we have to get on the tollway for a while. I see, so that's how you get to Awaji Island. I didn't know it that well, but apparently in order to get there, we'd have to cross some bridge called Seto or something.
じゃあ草津からバイパスに入って
Got it. Under her direction, I went from the Seta interchange to the Meishin Expressway. Compared to all the roads we've been on so far, it was obvious that this was a real express was. No traffic lights, a beautiful perspective. Seemed pretty simple to even a beginner like me. But as I got on the rightmost lane, I could hear terrific sound behind me. At first, I had no concept of passing a lane or anything. But as I got used to the expressway, it was almost fun. That's a pretty incredible car. Some car was passing us by at a terrific speed, and without thinking, the two of us exchanged glances. And sure enough, from her passenger seat, she was looking somewhat different from usual. While usually she'd be staring out the window into the distance, today she was looking around at other cars with great interest. Speaking of which, she knew a lot about cars for some reason or another, didn't she? I pointed at the car that had just blown past us. Hey, what kind of car is that? A quiz to pass the time, see?
トヨタセリカ
And the one we just overtook?
草だ
Wow, you know a lot. To tell the truth, I didn't know whether she was right or not. But it was really pleasant to hear words coming from her usual silent lips. So I kept playing with her questions.
青いのがユーノス赤いのはアルファロメオ
She even told me about the two cars that were just passing us now. But I'm willing to bet you won't know what that is. I pointed to a truck, not a car, as I spoke. I wanted to see a little perplexity seep into the expressionless face of hers. So you don't know trucks that well, then?
日産アトラス
Oh wow, you're incredible. I'd been planning on teasing her, but instead she'd gone straight over my head. Isn't that level of knowledge something to be proud about? Yeah, I think you could toot your own horn about it. She had no words in response. It felt like she was blushing a bit. So she loved cars after all. Then when we get here, want to try driving?
でも私免許持ってない
She never got a license? It'll be fine. Driving along the beach will be fun, don't you think? If we went all the way to Awaji Island, and then there would be lots of places without any people. And this car had a stick shift, so I thought she might have fun driving it. If you want, I'll teach you. Although, to be honest, I'm a complete beginner myself. So that was chapter 5, and by far, well, so far, I don't know how many chapters are left. By the way this is lining up, there might be another 3 chapters after this, and ending on chapter 8. And chapter 5 is by far my favorite chapter so far. It is so much happened. And like, it was just a mix of emotions going from happy to depressing to happy again, ending on a good note, and now we're actually going to go to Awaji Island, and we have some stuff planned. I'm really enjoying this game, and I hope you guys are too. So, smash that like button, like and favorite button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more, and next week I will be starting my Let's Play, and just as a side note, I think I'm postponing, I'm replacing Hyrule Warriors with something else. And that is a fact. Because Hyrule Warriors, I want to leave, I want to do it later. And because that'll be something, I don't think it'll be that long. I've seen other Let's Plays, I've seen how long they were, and they weren't that long. But So that's why I don't want to do it right now. I want to do something that'll last a bit. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next episode.